Tim, is that an Apple IIe over your shoulder there?
I don't know what that is. That's an old tube TV set, I think.
Oh, son of a... Come on, man. Good evening, weirdos, and welcome to yet another edition of Livin' Cruddy with Cruddy Joe. I am Cruddy Joe, and I'm here with the Getty Along gang. We have the Clown Prince of Frittata Mayhem, handsome Jimmy Hansen. We have the full bug himself, Gino Royd Coffinberry, and our very special guest, the man of many hats, writer, producer, director, actor, humanitarian, and champion cage fighter, Mr. Tim Ritter. Good evening, sir. One man leaves.
Like we were just talking to Tim, and I mentioned that I assume you come from Palm Beach County or that area, right? That's where you started out, right?
Right. Yeah, I was actually born in Lake Worth.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I moved to West Palm Beach in 1975. So when I was first introduced to Tim Ritter, I'm like, oh, this is the guy from here that makes these fucking crazy movies. Even as I watch them now, it's basically just jars my memories of places that look familiar to me. And years ago, my friend Rattlehead, who was in your movie Creep, came to me and said, hey, do you want to come down and basically be an extra on this movie that he's doing with Kathy Willits? And we all knew that Kathy Willits was doing a movie for you. So I not knowing anything about how movies are made, I'm like, yeah, I'll come down. I'm thinking I'll be there for 10 minutes and be in the movie for 10 minutes. Well, it turned into like 7 hours of sitting there watching Kathy Willits dance around. But it was a cool time to observe how things were done. And, the movie did come out and I made it in there for, 8 or 10 seconds, looking completely lost.
That was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Kathy Willits was, I don't know if people still know who she is or not, but in Florida, her husband was he a policeman?
Policeman, yeah.
And she was basically a prostitute who was doing, basically the husband sits in the closet while she does her prostitution with whoever. And she had a big, long black book of noted people, city councilmen, and like maybe the mayor or something like that. She had a list of guys that she was hooking with. And it became a big deal in South Florida at the time. And then not long after that, she was doing your movie.
It was a step down doing my movie.
Have you kept up with her at all, or is
the last I heard that she'd moved to Las Vegas and was working at I think some kind of brothel there, and that's the last I heard. But I know her parents. I think they got really sick, and she was kind of trying to take care of them. Or after that, I haven't really heard too much. Whenever those tabloid TV shows were the rage, like we were on A Current Affair with her. There was another one like 5 years ago before those were yanked off the air. I saw something on her, and it had clips from Creep, and that was about it. So.
Oh, wow.
How did you become aware of Rattlehead? Did you listen to the station, or was it some other?
Oh, wow. Rattlehead. Somehow, I think he was working at T's Lounge or something. Yeah. Was he doing something there? And then when we were doing some casting stuff, he got involved and got us some talent actresses from the club, and also, got us the club. I think he was key in actually getting us that club and working with Kathy Willits and all that.
Well, that makes perfect sense because he was the one that did a lot of that stuff. He was basically in charge of the girls there, and he was the longtime DJ at that club.
Right, wasn't he? He was a talent agent at one point too. At least he said he was.
He probably just said that to make sure he could be in the mix.
Yeah.
I knew him because he had an underground radio station that ran for a long time there that played local bands and, crazy wild shit that you wouldn't hear on the radio or whatever. So we were being in local bands. Everybody was trying to, we're making our inroads with him to get our music played. I ended up being friends with him, and I've been friends with him for a long time. And his scene in that movie, he's wearing my band's shirt. He's got a Royd's shirt on. And that's,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty involved scene there. He's not just like some guy walking by. He's like the John Prince Park rapist or something like that.
Right, the waist-side rapist where he gets up to the cop in the parking spot. Yeah.
Oh, he's perfect for that.
Yeah, he was great. He was a lot of fun.
I went back and brushed up on some of the old stuff. I hadn't seen Truth or Dare in a while. You did that in 86? Was that it?
Oh, yeah, that came out in 86. That's right.
86. Okay, that sounds about right for me. I was just starting to do the band stuff at the time, and so I went back and rewatched that. And I mean, that's your first movie other than the Twisted Illusions thing, right?
Right, and a feature I did in high school called Day of the Reap. Yeah, so it's actually the third feature movie, but
it was pretty advanced for just. I mean, you probably were like what, 20 years old at the time?
17 actually.
Wow.
18.
Okay. I mean, right from the outset, it plays like a professional movie. It's not just like some kids with handheld cameras.
Right. Yeah, we had a little budget, like a few $100,000.
And some of those people in that movie, when you had one of the kids went on to be a new kid on the block or something.
Right. Yeah, the little kid in the flashback with the razor blade who plays Truth or Dare, AJ McLean, I think McLean.
I never knew that the connection between that the kid went on to be a new kids on the block. That was kind of a shock.
All right, I don't want this to ever come back again, but it's actually Backstreet Boys. All right, that's it though. I'm not talking more about it.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What? You got all their albums, don't you?
Thank you, Jamie, for clarifying, because I have not fully brushed up on my Backstreet versus.
Please edit that part out.
No way I'm editing that part.
Would have been cool if it was like the lead singer of Judas Priest or something. Then I would have been a little more excited. I was like, the what? Who?
Well, it's still, I mean, you can never predict what somebody's going to do, but
that's true. I was definitely very successful, and I think he was born up that actor and now musician. He was because. I think he was born where I'm at now, somewhere in Kentucky here, and then they moved.
How'd you end up in Kentucky? Because we're all just outside of Nashville.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. I just my parents retired up here, so I decided to look for a change of scenery and get out of the Florida heat.
Like everybody else, you ran from Florida.
Right.
Well, it makes sense.
It was searing. Hurricanes and retired people, and not the best of scenes.
Now, I think my favorite of all your movies is, I'm going to stick with the old stuff because of Florida and all that, but Killing Spree, fan of Asbestos Felt. I remember seeing him, and maybe you were associated with this. I don't know. He used to do PSAs and stuff on TV. And
oh, yeah, for Channel 12 News and all kinds of weird stuff. He did documentaries on Wheel of Fortune. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, he was pretty big in South Florida, doing all that kind of stuff for ABC affiliate down there.
Now, I remember specifically he did a PSA for crack. And tell me if you remember this, but his PSA was he was standing in his backyard and he was working a barbecue grill.
I remember that one, yeah.
And he looks up at the camera and he's like, "The last thing I cooked was a bowl of crack."
Wish we still had those. They would have made great extras.
Oh, man. I would love to find that. I've looked for that for years, but, I even asked him on Facebook when he was on years ago, and he was, I don't have any of that stuff. So have you...
It's so wild looking, though. I bet nobody believed him that.
Yeah, no.
Crack. They're like, bullshit, he's on crack right now.
So have you stayed in touch with Asbestos Felt?
Yeah, I've talked to him on and off, and he just went to, there was some drive-in that had a showing of Truth or Dare and Killing Spree, and when the Alamo Theaters played Killing Spree last summer, he went to a couple of the showings, I think one in North Carolina. So yeah, he's still around and enjoying the fame from them. Yeah, no, he loves it, and I think his gig now, he's always been singing, and he enters contests and does, and he has like a lounge act, and he sings very close to like Frank Sinatra style music. As a matter of fact, when he sent me a cut once, I was like, I thought it was Frank Sinatra. So wow. He's got a really good voice for that type of music. So not just the Killing Spree rap. Remember the rap at the end of the movie there?
Well, a couple of years ago, I put out like a solo recording, and I did a song called Asbestos Felt.
Oh, cool.
And that was always the thing. When you were making those movies back then, I used to ride around. I'm like, get a hold of Tim Ritter, tell him we'll do some music for him. He's using
he used to send me tapes. I remember he gave me a band called Rape Date, and there was a couple others.
Of course, he gave you Rape Date because that was the band he was in.
Oh, okay. Well, I think he had an alternate agenda there, didn't he? I remember him giving me a stack of, I can't remember if it was cassettes or CDs. Cassettes will really date us, but yeah, it was all kinds of, and I think we ended up using some of it in Wicked Games and Creep a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. And Screaming for Sanity we used.
We ended up, the band that we have now, somehow a guy that I think you work with, Donald Farmer.
Many times, yeah.
He got a hold of some of our music and has been putting it in a bunch of movies, and we've never talked to him about using it all. It just turns up in these movies.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty cool, right? As long as you're cool with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Would love to get a credit for it at some point.
Yeah, really. Which movies is it in? Recent ones or older?
Oh, there was the Hooker with the Chainsaw was one of them.
Right. Hooker with a Hacksaw, yeah.
Hooker with a Hacksaw, yeah. Sorry.
Get it it right. Cheapers.
Yeah. Mixing up my saws, man. So
Yeah.
going back to Killing Spree, where that's filmed, is that entirely in Jupiter or was that some other part of?
Yeah, that was in a new development back then called Jupiter Landings, and I don't know if you've been back there since that time, but it's all kind of really changed. I went back about a year ago, and I was like, wow, this is a lot different, a lot more built up. So, at the time, it was like a kind of a newer neighborhood with not a lot of houses, there. But
I saw the movie. It reminded me of about 30 different neighborhoods in that area, so I could never pinpoint. I watched that now, and I'm like, this is such a weird little screenshot of what it was like in Florida in the
80. Well, it was 87 when we filmed.
Okay.
The late 80s there.
There's no other movies out there that capture that. I mean, nothing that looks like that. So
yeah, you're right. There's just like low budget horror movies kind of capture. If you look at like Blood Feast, H.G. Lewis, he kind of captured the 60s, and Shockwaves, that was probably 70s, I assume, with Brooke Adams and in that. And then, there's probably a handful of movies that capture, how Florida developed.
Well, I talked to you about this. This is probably going back 12 or 13 years. I had kind of moved up to Tennessee, and then I was up in Canada at one point, and I was at one of the Rue Morgue Festival of Fear things, and it come across a bunch of kids who were all wearing Tim Ritter shirts, and I was just blown away. I'm like, I talked to them for a long time. They're like huge Tim Ritter fans. I hadn't realized that there was such a cult following your stuff, and that's when I went back and of course looked into it. I'm like, okay, this stuff is blown up, and I hadn't paid attention to it for so long. Yeah,
it kind of caught on after, in niche areas over the, the last 20 years. When it first all came out on video, a lot of people just kind of were, got bad reviews, and people are like going, I can do that with my camcorder. And, then later, I guess the key to a cult movie is something that has longevity. So you got to wait to see if it actually catches on. Just like music, sometimes it doesn't catch on right away. And then touring in a few years, and, then suddenly it's like, yeah, this is not bad at all. And people love it.
We do a little thing where we show a movie every once in a while. We showed a copy of Killing Spree on there, and everybody loved it. We're definitely one of the more popular movies. I mean, people were just having a great time getting into it. Trash can bit and all that stuff.
Right, cool.
All right, so I'm sure Joe's got a bunch of stuff for you here. I don't want to eat up all the time.
What was the first movie that got you thinking, yeah, I need to get into this filmmaking thing?
I kind of always knew since I was a little kid that I wanted to make movies. Incredible Melting Man and Cujo. No. And Jaws, eventually with the slasher stuff, Halloween, to actually realize that I didn't have to emulate Star Wars and all those big budget movies where I could just have a rubber knife and a girl and creepy point of view camera and wagging the knife in front of the camera. I was like, this is the cheapest thing I can emulate right here. So
yeah. Now, as far as casting is concerned, regarding Joel D. Wynkoop and Asbestos Felton Gino here, you seem to have a knack for finding guys who look like psychos before you even touch them with any makeup. Is that just a talent of yours or just serendipitous?
They really are psychos. And what I do is there's this place called Sunnyvale Mental Institution, and what I have to do is plan the shoot, and I break in there, and sometimes there's a guard I know, I'll buy him off. We get them out just long enough to film, and those guys are just their actors, and they've kind of got a wild streak in their personality. So you are right. 90% of casting is placing somebody in the role that kind of has that personality, so you don't have to do as much direct.
Asbestos makes Killing Spree, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's got that kind of John Waters character appeal.
He reminds me of a lot of guys that I knew back in the late 70s, early 80s from Florida. There was definitely like a group of guys like him.
Yeah.
On the edge, and it was a kind of a wild place. It's not like it is now where it's all entirely people from some other state or whatever. He definitely fit into a thing that was going on there for a while.
He was into his own vibe, that's for sure.
Now, if I could play devil's advocate, is there any point while filming Killing Spree do you ask Asbestos, dude, tone it down, reel it back a little bit?
No, as a matter of fact, I would say more, and that was kind of toned down.
Wow.
The whole idea of Killing Spree was just to do kind of a dark comedy with very broad characters that really kept everything alive and moving, because it's those Florida white walls and static camera angles, so it kind of fell upon him and the other actors to just be as outrageous and crazy as possible to keep viewer interest, hopefully.
Well, I did notice there's a recurring theme in both Truth or Dare and Killing Spree where the married man discovers his wife cheating and goes on a homicidal killing spree. And this, of course, begs the question, are you married, Tim?
Yeah.
Have you threatened her with a killing spree if
Oh yeah, I had a plastic butter knife. It just didn't work out. No, I mean at the time it was just great material because revenge and love triangles and all that, and it's just great for a slasher movie. At the time, I don't know if there was a lot of slasher movies that had kind of jumped into that theme, quite as strange and psychological as that. Especially those two movies where they propelled the whole story.
Yeah, a little bit of nudity in those films, and you think that had any flow behind why some of the stuff became popular, or why some younger people might search it out?
I don't think there's any nudity in Killing Spree.
Yeah, Killing Spree doesn't have any.
Watching him thinking, okay, any minute now she's gonna never have. I was like, damn it, well that's a star off my final rating.
I was mainly thinking of Creep, which is practically half the movie's filmed in a topless bars.
Of course, yeah, B-movie, that's one of the selling aspects, exploitation movies. Today, I guess you're right, today, I don't know. Do a lot of movies have, exploitation elements in them, or do they kind of dial back on that?
There's a few, but it's not like at the time, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, it was just like you just came to expect it. You know what I mean?
Right, because now all that stuff's like on Vinegar Syndrome and re-releases.
People still love blood and TNA, just like Lisa Monahan.
Joe does inside jokes.
Yeah, sorry. Another star I had to take off. Speaking of no nudity in Killing Spree, I had to take another star off because of the asbestos belt vacuuming scene.
Oh, wow, yeah, instead of...
Whose idea was that?
What is the deal? Yeah, we were out prop shopping, and we just thought it would be hilarious to have him in those Speedos. And you do remember it, though, so you got to give us half a star because you're recalling it.
Oh, that is burned into your psyche after you see it one time. You're like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, I want to go watch Killing Spree because I'm just like...
Good Halloween movie.
When I first saw Killing Spree many, many years ago, I didn't like it at all. Then we watched it again due to your recommendation on the show, and giving it that second chance, I appreciated it a lot more. I was like, well, this is a lot better than I remembered it, so I stand corrected.
I've done that before. I watched a movie and then didn't care for it. Actually, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was one that I first saw, and I was like, I'd already seen like Maniac and a bunch of other movies beforehand, and I was like, well, I don't see what anybody sees with this. And then it took a couple years of going back to it and then saying, oh, wow, now it's a masterpiece.
A lot of people talk about Killing Spree and Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the same breath.
Well, that's fantastic if they do that.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, classics like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Killing Spree.
And they're two completely different vibes. One of them is the Texas thing came from an era when you didn't expect that at all. And then Killing Spree was something you had never seen really before. Just the look, the vibe, the craziness of the character. But it was definitely holding with the edge of comedic value. And just the look, the appearance of it is so unique. Of all those movies of that era, which stuff do you like the best? What's your favorite?
I probably like Wicked Games. That was a good one that holds up for me. It's kind of hard. Once you're done with them, you don't really watch them that much unless it's with a group that wants to watch them with a large crowd and maybe talk about it afterward. Otherwise, I'm like, on to the next thing.
What do you got going on moving forward? I mean, I know you've got the stuff like High 8 and High Death and all that stuff, and you're continuing on with extending your legacy. What do you got planned coming up?
Well, we just finished shooting this past weekend. We filmed the movie for SRS Studios, a movie called Sharks of the Corn. It's a mix of Children of the Corn and Jaws.
I can't even imagine attempting to start writing that.
The distributor came to me with the title. He said, this will sell. I'll give you the money to make if you can get a cult and cornfields in there. And I was like, okay. So, yeah, I took it from there and came up with a 100-page screenplay. I could have written more. It was amazing. It was ridiculous, too. So.
Sharks and Corn, it writes itself.
Yeah.
Sharks and Corn.
I have to imagine how the conversation goes. How do you approach them and say, I need sharks to come out of the corn?
Well, I don't know if you saw the news. Kentucky has sharks in Mammoth Cave. Last week, as a matter of fact, they found gigantic shark fossils in the cave. So that's kind of unbelievable. But yeah, I developed a whole thing about where this cult of shark cult worshippers has these shark guardians in a cornfield, and they're going to resurrect this shark goddess, and then the great whites attack people, and there's a serial killer that kills people with giant shark teeth to help the goddess come back to life. It's very bizarre, but I figured, I'm a fan of Jaws, so this will be my little homage to Jaws.
Tim, I'm not telling you how to do your job, but isn't that whole premise kind of overdone?
What's that?
And,
The shark goddess cult in cornfields? Well, I know the shark movies in general, I mean, it's definitely completely overdone, and that's why I kind of hesitated. But then I was like, oh, I think I could make this really weird and different.
yeah, I was just being silly.
But it is, though. I mean, every time I mean, there's ghost shark, land shark, toilet shark. I mean, I haven't kept up with all of them.
I watched the trailer online, so that looks like it's going to be a good one.
That was the first scene, and that was actually before I had even written the script. There's a whole thing with cornfields dying off, and you only have so much time to do it. I kind of just created that scene to Hama's Jaws even before we had a script, so it was really bizarre to be directing a scene, just kind of making it up. as we were
but it fits perfectly. It's got sharks and corn.
We're waiting for the first review of that film to say this film is amazing.
Hardcore corn.
Like yourself, there are many independent genre filmmakers that are kind of just outside the mainstream spotlight. Is there anyone else that you feel deserves attention that people should seek out who make horror movies too?
Ron Bonk, who is the owner of SRS Studios, he made a movie called House Shark. Of course, Eric Stanzi, who did Scrapbook and a bunch of other movies. Definitely recommend his stuff. Sean Donahue, he makes some cool movies. He did Escort Services. Scott Tepperman, he and his partner Jim O'Rear, they do movies and in the slasher vein and those kind of stuff. There's some cool stuff out there that has very niche market and just hasn't gotten that bigger level yet, like myself. You know, we're kind of in the underground.
We have a quiz thing we do. It's a couple music questions and a couple movie quote questions. I will read a couple lines from the song. You just identify the song and the band, and if you know the next line of the song, say what that is. Most people do not get this, even though it appears relatively easy. Now, if you get either one of these, if you're like, I don't know that shit, you can choose one of these other guys, Joe or Jimmy, to attempt to answer it. I won't tell you which one is good at music and which one is good at movies, but I haven't.
I mean, I can kind of just say, my lifeline is Joe or Jimmy.
Yeah, and the first one is, whenever you're ready, I can't believe she needs my love so bad, come sneaking around trying to drive me mad, busting in all my dreams. What's the next line, and who's the band and the name of the song?
Wow, what's a hint? Is this like metal or like pop music or 70s?
This would be, I would call it hard rock, from a band that went on to be world-renowned heavy metal. I'll read the line again. Can't believe that she needs my love so bad, come sneaking around trying to drive me mad, busting in all my dreams. What's the next line? What's the band and the song?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably need a lifeline. Let's pick Joe to help me out.
You called on Joe.
All I want to show you, woman, is the best part of a man.
I could have told you we were going there. Last week's debacle. You know, Jimmy?
No, I don't know.
Well, the band was Judas Priest, and the song was Green Manalishi, and the line is, busting in all my dreams, making me see things I don't want to see.
Yeah. No, I am a Judas Priest fan, but the older stuff, I kind of got into them in Defenders of the Faith, and then Upward, and, you know, but, I mean, of course, I've heard that song many times, so.
Move on to the second one. I think this one's a little bit easier.
Okay.
The verse is, children of tomorrow live in the tears that fall today. Will the sun rise up tomorrow, bringing peace in any way? Must the world live in the shadow of atomic fear? Can they win the fight for peace? What's the next line, and who's the band?
I don't know. Sounds like something Megadeth would do, but offhand, I don't know.
You got lifelines here.
So I guess we'll try James. He disappeared.
Oh, no. I don't know that. What is it? It's Black Sabbath.
It is Black Sabbath. What's the name of the song?
Give it to me again.
Children of tomorrow live in the tears that fall today. Will the sun rise up tomorrow, bringing peace in any way? Must the world live in the shadow of atomic fear? Can they win the fight for peace?
I don't know, something Ozzy's whining about. I don't know.
or will they disappear? Yeah. Children of the grave. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Your lifelines let you down. I apologize for that.
You got halfway there.
No, I said the name of the song is War Pigs Paranoia.
Different record, but good, high quality old rock.
Children of the Grapes.
We can edit all this to make it look like you got all these correct.
Yeah.
We owe them that
Isn't
much.
the Backstreet Boys with Children of the Grapes?
Yeah, now if we did Backstreet Boys, Jimmy would clearly get these.
Wow, yeah, definitely. We can't even remember their band name.
Okay, so we're going to go on to the movie quote portion. These are quotes from famous movies. I'll say the quote. Just tell me either the actor or the character and what the movie was.
Okay.
Got two of them. First one is, a son is a poor substitute for a lover.
Psycho.
That is correct. And of course, who's the character?
Anthony Perkins.
Yeah, that's a score. Yes, Norman Bates,
Yeah.
Anthony Perkins from Psycho. All right, we have one more. You got that one pretty quickly here, so you might get this one too. I got something planned for your wife and that kid that they ain't never gonna forget. They ain't never gonna forget it, and neither will you.
Wife and the kid.
I got something planned for your wife and kid that they ain't never gonna forget. They ain't never gonna forget it, and neither will you. I'll give you a hint. There's two versions of this movie, and I think this line appears in both of them.
I want to say Robert De Niro and Cape Fear, but I'm not sure.
Because I think it is the same line for both movies. That is correct. That is Cape Fear. I got Robert Mitchum.
Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because
Awesome.
I rewatched that not too long ago, the remake.
Man, you did great.
Yeah, you did way better than most people do.
Well, I got 0 on Judas Priest, and I love Judas Priest, so that's pretty embarrassing. So,
Well, a good thing Joe wasn't asked a question. He'd get like non-hits off of third-rate albums from bands.
Tiny Tim.
Now we move on to the most absurd portion of the evening here. This is, you remember Mad Libs, right?
Right.
Well, this is something we do called Nad Libs. You know, Joe's a writer. He writes books. He wants to write a screenplay for you, and he wrote it Nad Libs. I will need to start a derogatory plural noun. If you want to give him an example, Joe.
Assholes, fuckheads, clown shoes.
You just pick the word, then if we put it into the story.
Okay.
So I need a derogatory plural noun.
Let's see. Trying not to be too crude here. It's a story.
it's okay.
Oh, be crude. We encourage.
Let it out.
Cretins.
That works.
Nice.
Cretins. And that's plural, too.
Yeah, that's not even lowbrow. That's pretty highbrow for us.
Yeah.
I need a favorite cartoon.
Favorite cartoon. Roadrunner.
Meep, meep.
A mode of transportation.
Wheelbarrow. Dirt. It's for dirt only.
A body part.
Ear.
An alcoholic beverage.
Beer. Ear and beer.
Ear and beer.
I need another body part.
Let's see. Foot.
I'm reading this. I was like, it's just ridiculous. It's fucking absurd. Okay, a type of hat.
Fedora.
All right, an adjective.
Quicker.
We'll print this out and you can take it to your psychiatrist.
Yeah.
You don't have to be too clever. Lord knows I wasn't.
Let's see. Yeah, how about thick? Thick.
Boy.
Need another body part.
Nose. Did I do the nose yet?
You didn't do
Knows
that.
it is.
Somehow I need another body part.
Oh my God, Joe.
Wow.
What are you building Frankenstein's monster?
About left buttock.
We need a flying mythical creature.
Flying mythical creature.
All two of those.
Oh, mythical. How about the piranodon? That might not be mythical, though. It might be real.
Be real.
You make one up.
They're gonna find one in Mammoth Cave.
Dong?
yeah, what's
It's
it
a future
for?
movie.
What is a favorite sitcom?
Seinfeld.
And a type of fluid.
Type of fluid. Semen.
Ahoy!
Everything just went south.
Oh.
All right. Did I miss any, Joe? I don't think I did.
I don't think you did.
The story is called Tim Goes to the Oscars.
Yay.
Finally.
Finally.
Tim goes to the Oscars. One afternoon, Tim got an invitation to attend the Oscars. Those damn cretins, it's about time they recognized me as the auteur that I am. Upon a closer inspection, though, Tim realized it was actually an event to see his friend, Asbestos Felt, being giving a Lifetime Achievement Award. Nevertheless, Tim got showered and dressed and putting on his fanciest Bermuda shorts and Roadrunner t-shirt. Then Tim hopped on his wheelbarrow and went to the Oscars. Once he got there, it didn't take Tim long to find Roberto Benigni and punch him in the ear. Because he was drunk on beer, Tim kept pinching Salma Hayek on the foot. Strangely enough, it turned out she was into that and gave Tim her phone number. The award ceremony was very nice. Asbestos looked sharp in a tuxedo and a black matching fedora. After being given the award, Asbestos gave a 20-minute thick speech where he thanked everyone but the mailman, but he neglected to mention Tim.
Aww.
After the ceremony, Tim was very angry, so he found Asbestos in the catering tent and kicked him in the nose. Strangely enough, it turned out that he was into this and he gave Tim his phone number. The security detail, however, was not into that and dragged Tim off the premises by his left buttock. Dejected, Tim flew home on his Piranodon. Once he got home, Tim stripped down to his Seinfeld boxers and drowned his sorrows in a gallon of semen.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to make that into a movie. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. A gallon? Damn.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Now, the final quiz thing that we have here, we ask everybody to do this. You can opt out if you don't want to do it, but we ask everybody to do their best Werner Herzog impersonation.
Okay, well, I can do kind of a German type of action. Yeah, yeah.
All right, that's good. I liked it.
That was Werner after he pounded.
That's definitely not the worst one we've heard.
Oh no,
sure.
he pounded
That's pretty
it.
good.
Respects. He was ready to party. Or we have Jimmy's. Jimmy does his cruddy cuisine.
I didn't cook anything interesting this week, though.
Oh,
Say that every week. What did you make using a gallon of semen?
Cake.
Mess. A huge mess.
Makes great icing on a cake.
I did. I made another frittata. I cleaned the fridge out and I put a bunch of meat in it that I found in the fridge, like sausage and some leftover steak.
Ooh.
It was really good. And I had some potatoes. That was delicious, you know. Ooh. And I made bread again. Big deal.
This is your assignment. We don't task you with learning.
Well, hold on. I think that's what I'm saying. I'm in a rut here, and I need some ideas from people other than drawing salacious pictures of me. Maybe they can help me figure out what to cook next.
Well, remember those cookies that you made last winter? And I was asking you for more of those. You can make some of those.
there you go.
The raspberry ones.
I think they were cooked like sugar cookies of some sort.
Okay, that's not hard to do. That's easy.
Cookies.
I need something with like I don't know.
How about we do this? The guest this week picks what you have to cook the subsequent week, and then you report on your attempt to make that.
Tim, what's your favorite thing to cook and or have cooked for you?
Man, I would try like a taco salad.
Nice.
You're on. All right, I can do that.
Yeah, they're not
All
bad.
right, so this is the Tim Ritter Cuisine Challenge. You got to make a delicious taco, and we'll report on how that came out next week.
Taco salad, not a taco.
Yeah, not a taco salad.
With semen.
Yeah,
Ah,
a
gallon?
gallon of that shit.
Now, I'm trying to ask Tim something, so let's ask, are you an avid cook?
I used to be a short order cook. Actually, and this is a great story. I was a dishwasher, and Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, came in to the golf course place where I worked, one of those little restaurants, and the chef had left. They said, "Quick, we need something. Jack Nicklaus is here. Whip something up." So I just got Snicker bars, and I chopped them up, and I put toothpicks in them, and I got like little salad and put it around it, little leaves of salad and little pieces of cheese, and it was a huge hit. It was the bartender took it out to his table. He had never had anything like that in his life, especially the Snickers on a toothpick.
That's fancy. Anything on a toothpick is fancy.
That's a Florida salad right there.
Only in Florida.
I was going to ask you, I was going here earlier and I completely forgot to ask, but the people that turned me on to the first movie I saw, which was Truth or Dare, was this place called Video Extron on Okeechobee Boulevard in West Palm.
Right.
Were you friends with those guys, or was that they were just?
Oh yeah, that's where I met producer Al Nicolosi. He produced Killing Spree, and he worked when I was selling Day of the Reaper, my Super 8 movie, to local video stores going around. He was the counter guy there, and he was friends with the owner, and actually the owner of Video Extron actually invested in.
Oh really? Well, that makes perfect sense because I knew those. I don't remember their names now, but at the time I would come in and go right to them and say, "You got recommendations for me?" And they were the one. They were like, "This guy is local. He made this movie Truth or Dare, and you're gonna love it." That's where I found out about it.
Right there, it was all integrated there.
Yeah, I love that store. That was my favorite store.
Yeah, I mean that's where I bought my first factory sealed horror movie on beta, and I paid I was a dishwasher. And I saved up like $85 to buy it. Pieces. You don't have to go to Texas for a Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice. We should have done that.
I miss places like that. That was a cool store. I mean, it was a huge store. It was like
I think it was a chain. There was like 6 of them, South Florida chain. So that's the one I always went to. It was on Okeechobee.
Besides your shark movie, what are some other future projects you have on the burner right now?
We're also editing the third entry in the High 8 series, anthology one. It's called High Fear is the third one. So that should be out in 2021. So another anthology with Brad Sykes and a couple of Todd Sheets is contributing.
You've done several anthologies. That's something you just gravitate towards?
Usually because I'm asked to do it, and it's cheaper than a feature. You know, it's and less time and easier to edit.
Plus, one of them has the best title ever, Earth Girls Are Sleazy.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
No, it was just another. That was for Sean Donahue at Gator Blade Films, and he was just putting together a little sci-fi thing, and there was no budget, but he asked me to fill in a slot there, and so we went out, created this alien mythology, and man, it's all hazy now. But I remember I was like, well, how do I go get aliens for no money? And, you know, so it just so happened that year, like the Halloween Express type stores around here, they had all these alien setups. So I just went around with a video camera and filmed their setups and then interspersed it into the movie for a little production value.
It was meant to be.
Stars aligned.
Top of the line stuff. I have not seen the finished movie yet, as a matter of fact. I knew when I filmed and I was like, what, I want to see this again?
It's funny how everybody we talk to, that either actors or whoever associated with movies, are like, I made this movie, but I've never seen it.
I don't think I was filming it and I didn't see it.
Well, that's all we got for this evening. I wanted to thank our guest, Tim Ritter, for allowing us to waste his time and pick his brain on all his filmmaking endeavors. And I also wanted to thank the Getty Along gang, of course, Handsome Jimmy Hansen and the Full Bug Gino Royd Coffinberry. Thanks, fellas, for all your hard work. Thanks again, Tim. We really appreciate your time. You're awesome.
Appreciate being on. Good luck with all of it.
The security detail, however, was not into that and dragged him off the premises by his left buttock. Dejected, Tim flew home on his piranha Don. Once he got home, Tim stripped down to his Seinfeld boxers and drowned his sorrows in a gallon of semen.
No.
Ahoy!